So African Americans or Hebrews. And on my assignment, I like this. It was Hebrew by blood, Israelites by nationality, Negro by title identification, African by diaspora, African Americans by slavery, U.S. citizens by citizenship, and the one I like the most, saved by grace in Yeshua, our Messiah. Okay, so the Hebrews were a chosen people, and the Most High wanted them to be special to him and a kingdom of priests. And so this is the scripture, and it says, "You shall be to me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. And these are the words which you shall speak to the children of Israel." And in Exodus 19, 5b through 6, "For you are a holy people to Yahuwah, your Elohim, the Lord your God has chosen you to be a people for himself, a special treasure above all the peoples on the face of the earth." The Lord did, the Yahuwah, I got to get used to saying his proper name. Yahuwah did not choose, pour his love. I can't see because all of the pictures of everybody. Okay. Yahuwah did not set his love on you, nor choose you because you are more in number than any other people, for you are the least of all peoples. But because Yahuwah loves you, and because he would keep the oath which he swore to your fathers, Yahuwah has brought you out with a mighty hand and redeemed you from the house of bondage, from the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. So that's our scripture. That is our scripture that lets us know that we are the chosen people. So who are the Hebrews of the Bible? There's biblical and historical evidence that tell the true identity of the ancient Hebrews. They had dark skin and Negroid features. In other words, the nose, the wide nose, and you can see the nostrils. And then they had thick lips, and they had tightly coiled or curled hair. During the Renaissance period, most images of Black Hebrews were repainted white, while other images were hidden away, buried, or destroyed. And what happened? The thesis question, I guess, is what happened to the original people who lived in North Africa and the land of Canaan? Canaan. Is it the nation of people who spent a majority of its history in the land of Ham, the original Hebrews? But who are the African Americans? And so that's the question I will answer in this presentation. Now, this is one of my favorite comparisons because you will see on the left part of my screen, you see our ancestors. They were actually doing servile work, and they were slaves in Egypt. But if you look on this whitewash picture to the right of my screen, I hope I have the left and right okay with you guys. But it looks like they're on vacation. They're by a lake, and they're on a sandy beach. And so this is some of the trickery that has been done against our people. They couldn't go into the caves rather, and whitewash, but they have done it with illustrations and so forth. So the Hebrews were scattered from the land promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob through the Assyrian invasion, and that was Sennacherib and so forth. They were scattered at that time, and some of them never came back. And they were also scattered during the Babylonian invasion and captivity with Nebuchadnezzar. And some of them never returned when Ezra and Nehemiah, Ezra actually, and had brought the people. And then the destruction of Jerusalem and the temple, of course, they escaped and went out. And every time they escaped, they would flee to Africa, most likely, but some did flee in other places. And during the Spanish Inquisition, a sidebar is that during the Assyrian or the Babylonian captivity, King John of Spain had asked for the tribe of Judah, the descendants of the kings, and so they sent him a lot of the tribe of Judah to Spain and then Portugal. And of course, during the Spanish Inquisition, they were really abused and murdered. Millions were murdered and kicked out of Spain. And I did find out last night that the La Palma was one that had been subjected to the volcanic eruptions, was part of that, where they had been put out of that actual island, the Canary Islands there. So we know that the judgment of the Most High is at play here. Okay, so now this is just a picture of the destruction of Jerusalem, and the scripture, he was in the world. This is our kinsman redeemer, Yahusha, or Yeshua. He was in the world, and the world was made through him, and the world did not know him. He came to his own, and his own did not receive him. And when Yeshua went to he was talking with the disciples. They were admiring the huge stones of the temple. But Yeshua said, "Do you not see all these things? Surely I say to you, not one stone shall be left here upon another that shall not be thrown down." And this is Matthew 1-2. Now, this is a map of the lost tribes, where some of the lost tribes did flee. And this was the Great Migration and the Yoruba tribe, the Great Migration of the refugees from the collapsing Assyrian Empire in 605 BC, according to the Yoruba tradition. And you'll see the arrows where they are escaping into sub-Saharan Africa. And then we'll see in a minute where they landed. Professor Dr. Emeritus of Beirut University in Germany has performed extensive research concerning many Western African groups and their origins in the Near East. In the abstract to one of his many essays, Dirk Lange, Origin of the Yoruba and the Lost Tribes of Israel, Dirk confirmed the traditions of a Levantine or Israelite origin of the Yorubas in Nigeria, the Yoruba Nigerians. And also the Igbo people of Nigeria are also known to be descendants of the ancient Hebrew Israelites. And on a sidebar, my grandson, who is almost 16, he has a girlfriend whose father is an Igbo. So that's just a little side note. Here we have the sub-Saharan, the Ashanti, the Yoruba. This is North Africa and the Israelite migration. And this is kind of like the Horn of Africa. And then this is the Atlantic Ocean here. Now, this is a chart. I'm not going to go through all of that, but this is a chart that kind of tells where our ancestors, or the Israelites, did actually scatter, and it tells what time they did scatter. And so, if you want to, you can look at the video, and then you can see for yourself where they went. But my main thrust is where the people of the tribe of Judah went. And we also have this map, which is outlining Negro land. And of course, Negro in the Spanish was a term used for the Hebrews. And so we have Negro land here, and it's right up above the area of Guinea. In Zondervan's Bible dictionary, the definition of Ham, they do define the people who are Hamites. And but it says that the Hamites are not the Negroes. The youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood. This is the Zondervan Bible Compact Dictionary that came through the flood. He became the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes, but the Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites. His indecency with his father lay drunk and brought a curse upon Canaan. Of course, we all know that the Ashkenazis and everybody else that's not Hebrews wanted to say that the curse was upon all people of color, but it was just upon Canaan. And the Igbos, that name kind of morphed into Hebrews into Hebrews, or maybe vice versa, Hebrews to Hebrews and Ebus. And so we have another reference here, and please pardon me that I did find this reference and I left it off, but I will find it for anyone who wants to know, but I have to beg your pardon there. Okay, so we have the slaves from Wida, or another name for Judah, aka Judah or Judea, Judah or Wida. And so we see the African slave trade, and we see how the arrows are coming, the blue arrow down here coming from the slave coast to the West Indies, and then to the U.S., and then from the U.S., it went down into the islands. The slaves were actually broken in these Caribbean islands. If they were too unruly, I would say, they were sent to these islands to be broken. And then we have also, but it was also not just slaves, it was product sugar and molasses and products that were sold to various nations, European nations, and so forth. And what role did the Ashkenazim play in the slave trade? Jewish merchants played a major role in the slave trade. In fact, in all the American colonies, where the French, Martinique, British, or Dutch Jewish merchants frequently dominated. This was no less true on the North American mainland, where during the 18th century, Jews participated in the triangular trade that brought slaves from Africa to the West Indies, and there exchanged them, as I said, for molasses and sugar and all of that, which in turn was taken to England, New England, and converted into rum for sale in Africa. Now, this is a picture of a Jewish merchant playing a major role in the slave trade. In fact, all of the American colonies. And this is Rabbi Dr. Mark Lay Raphael, and he's a professor of Judaic studies. And so I guess he has done some research on this. All right, and they also had a fleet of slave ships. Okay, so when we look here, we have the name of the slave ship, and we have the owners of the slave ships, and their fake Jewish names when they converted in 849. They actually changed their names from the Khazari names or the Turkish names and the German or Russian names or whatever they were. They changed them most of them into Hebrew names. But these are the names of the slave ships that brought our ancestors from the African coast to the various Americas. And this is the door of no return in Ghana, and whose nation has the symbol of the eagle. It says, Yahuwah will bring a nation against you from afar, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flies, a nation whose language you will not understand. And that's Deuteronomy 28 and 49. Slave women were raped in Deuteronomy 28 and 30. You shall betroth the wife, but another man shall lie with her. You shall build a house, but you shall not dwell in it. You shall plant a vineyard, but shall not gather its grapes. And this is an illustration of this actual Bible verse coming to pass. And these are the first slaves to land on the beach in Virginia in 1619. This is an artist's rendering of them coming to Virginia, to America in 1619. And also slave children were taken from their mothers. Well, they were taken during the Spanish Inquisition, and in the Americas or wherever there was no respect to the family among the slave traders and slave owners. Your sons and your daughters shall be given to another people, and your eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all day long, and there shall be no strength in your hand. Deuteronomy 28 and 32. Now, the Jews and the Civil War. And I should have taken that scripture. That does not pertain to this particular slide. But this person whose name was Judah Benjamin, he was born to Sephardic Jewish parents from London. I don't think they were Sephardic, but anyway, who had moved to St. Croix in the Danish West Indies when it was occupied by Britain during the Napoleonic Wars. Judah Benjamin attended Yale College, but left without graduating. He became a wealthy planter and slave owner and was elected to and served in both houses of the Louisiana legislature prior to his election by the legislature to the U.S. Senate in 1852. There he was an eloquent supporter of slavery. And he supported it so much, he got a place on the Confederate money. This is his picture on a Confederate $2 bill. And you see the picture of, and I really don't know what that is, so I'm not going to try to interpret that illustration. But anyway, that's his name. Okay, a nation whom you have not known shall eat the fruit of your land and the produce of your labor, and you shall be only oppressed and crushed continually. And in Deuteronomy 28 and 48b, and he will put a yoke of iron on your neck until he has destroyed you. Elderly were thrown overboard. They did not want anyone that were infirm or sick or weakly. In verse 50 of Deuteronomy, a nation of fierce countenance which does not respect the elderly. And you have, nor show favor to the young. You have babies being used as alligator bait in Florida. They would tie a string around the baby, and they would throw the baby into the swamp or the water, and the alligator would grab hold to these precious babies, and then while they had hold on them, they would pull the string. It was just like fishing. They would use the babies as bait, as in fishing, and they will pull the alligator on land and then hit the head of the alligator. All right, and the Lord and Yahuwah will take you back to Egypt in ships by way of which I said to you, you shall never see it again, and there you shall be offered for sale to your enemies as male and female slaves, but no one will buy you. And we know that that is true. And look how many they got in the ship. There's other evidence in old writings, but this is a particular African, they call it African Negro. He was in the city, and I think he was either in Georgia or South Carolina. I can't remember exactly where it was. I cut it off too quickly in order to get that. But anyway, he spoke Hebrew. and he could write Hebrew. And with this particular African Negro, I'm going to say he's a Hebrew. They actually took him to some Ashkenazi Jews, and the Ashkenazis actually tested him. And yes, they say, yes, he's speaking Hebrew. I guess what they knew. But anyway, yeah, that this was other evidence that proved that the blacks were the Hebrews. And here is a picture of Free Blacks of Israel Hill. This is somewhere, I believe, in Virginia or Maryland, just to the west of Israel Hill, settled in 1810 by approximately 90 formerly enslaved persons who received freedom and 350 acres from Judith Randolph under the will of her husband, Richard Randolph, cousin of Thomas Jefferson. And these Israelites and other free African Americans worked as farmers, craftspeople, and Appomattox River boatmen. Some labored alongside whites for equal wages and defended their rights in court. The family of early settler Hercules White bought and sold real estate in Farmville and joined with white citizens to found the town's first Baptist church in 1836. Israel Hill remained a vigorous Black community into the 20th century. So this is just a sign that shows the historical relativity of this place. And lastly, in Mein Kampf, written by Hitler, of course, Adolf Hitler. He was the notorious leader of the Third Reich in Germany during World War II. And he wrote this. Why will the Jews control America? He's talking about the Ashkenazi. The soldier asked, Hitler said, because the white Jews know that the Negroes are the real the children of Israel, and to keep America's secret, the Jews will blackmail America. They will extort America. Their plan for world domination won't work if the Negroes know who they are. The white citizens of America will be terrified to know that all this time they've been mistreating and discriminating and lynching the children of Israel. They will fear the Most High will destroy them as he destroyed Egypt for doing the same thing. So the elite, the Illuminati, keeps this a secret at all costs. After I die, says Hitler, I will one day cause World War III just by this message, which will be like planting a seed in a people's minds until it sprouts. Once they nurture that seed and seek more truth and learn, Hitler was right. I did the world a favor by killing the false Jews before they designated a false state of Israel. But I fear I have failed. The world will fall into the hands of Satan. And that was written by Adolf Hitler. And so these were his thoughts that he penned in Mein Kampf. And so this is how he felt, but I don't think we ever knew that on a personal commentary, but because I don't think he really liked melanated skinned people either. But we don't condone what he did, but he did bring out a truth that was kind of surprising when I read this. So this is proof. So far in 5-7 minutes, or ever how long I took, that African Americans are not African Americans, they are Hebrews.